I'm not crying, but I have allergies, and so I have the sniffles, so you're gonna hear me, you know, maybe not that intense, that was a little gross. Coming at you today with no eyeshadow on, and we're doing Pan Those Eyeshadows Update 6, so, you know, if this is your first time seeing me, then I apologize. All I was able to do was a powder foundation and eyebrows and a lip gloss, so I promise I look a little more put together usually, so just go check out a different video, I guess. Okay, before we get into this update though, I want to, not every video, but when I find something that like really speaks to me, I want to take like just a brief little moment to like highlight it on here. So if you're not interested in like what I'm highlighting, then skip ahead to, you know, the time frame provided. No feelings hurt if you skip ahead. So I would really like to start highlighting like different charities and organizations that speak to me. So one, no, I am not in any way affiliated with anything that I will ever, you know, talk to you guys about. Two, that doesn't mean that you have to like donate to them. I just want to do it because I feel like that's a good use of this space. And so there's that. And then two, you know, a lot of them are probably going to be like in my local area or like from my hometown. And so maybe you don't feel comfortable because that doesn't support like your local community. So I just hope that this also like encourages you to look into things, you know, within like your own area to see how you can help. And then two, I just want to say that, you know, I feel like some people get a little, not hung up, but like they think that like money is the only way to donate, and it's not. Like, I'm sure you're aware of this, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Like, you know, you can donate like time, or, you know, things like maybe you have some like clothes hanging out in your closet, and you know that particular place is like accepting those kind of donations. So there's like multiple ways to get involved. So here in the DC area, we have a organization, a charity, I'm not sure, like I feel like it's kind of interchangeable, but it's called Shepherd's Table. I'm gonna leave their like website listed down below in case you do want to check them out. But what they do is they provide meals to the homeless. So I know Monday through Friday they do 3 meals a day, and on the weekends they do, I think, do 2. So I feel like that's really good. But then they take it like a step further, in my opinion. So they also offer social services. They offer some medical care. They have like an in-house like eye doctor area so that people can get their eyes checked and also get their prescriptions and things like that. So they also, I believe they've started like an initiative too to help people like learn a skill or a trade so that they can like, you know, get like a job. So they're trying to like help and fix the problem through like multiple resources, which I think is really good. So I just wanted to take a minute and highlight them. But yeah, so all right, I have my little notebook here, and so if I'm looking down, this is what I'm looking at. Also, I just want to say, I noticed like on my list, so first off, I noticed that some of my eyeshadow palettes were out of order, like you know, like Urban Decay Naked 2 was like number 10, but Urban Decay Naked Honey was like number 14. So that kind of bothered me, so I went through and like reorganized the list so that brands are together. And then secondly, I was talking with my mom, and like we were discussing makeup and some things like that, and there were some palettes that I have that she has her eye on. So hopefully here in September, I'll be able to make a trip home, and I'm gonna take those palettes to her to see if she wants any of them. So for the time being, I have removed those palettes from my collection because I wanted to like if she wants them, that's great. But if it was like, I wanted to remove it now so that if I felt myself missing it, or like, no, I really, you know, I need this palette to like do this or whatever, then I would be able to tell her like, this one I actually used more than I thought I did, like I want to hang on to it, blah blah blah. So again, the number is always changing in this video, but let's just get into it. I could ramble on forever, you guys. Okay, So we're just gonna go how we have them listed here on the sheet. So the first one comes from the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. It is the shade ICYMI, in case you missed it. I struggle with that every time, so I'm really proud of myself. Okay, this past month, I have only used it 2 times. So I don't even think you're gonna be able to tell like any kind of a difference in that. It does have like a dip forming on it. In total, I have used this shade 23 times now. So I'm going to swatch it out for you guys. So there it is, swatched out. It is really pretty. It's just like a matte brick red shade. I just haven't been drawn to reaching towards it. I think if I have a picture, I'll post it. But somebody did helpfully comment like, hey, it's such a warm tone shade and you're like struggling with it. Why don't you mix it with like cooler tone shades like purples and like silvers? And so I did that with the Persona Identity palette, and I really liked the way that it turned out. Now granted, I don't think you can really see as much of the red. It's in like my outer V and like kind of up into the crease, but I think that it turned out really pretty. So that might be just like my go-to look with this shade. So there's that one. The next one we had in was the shade Put on Heirs, also from the ColourPop Nude Mood palette. Now let me just say, I used this 5 times this past month for a total of 9, and I have pan on it. And I'm kind of upset about it. So this shade, while it's very pretty and it's very bronzy, I'm not gonna swatch it because it's not staying in the color story, but every time I dipped my brush into it, it was like a little mini powder explosion, like terrible. And it was difficult to like then pick up all the bits that like exploded out to like use on your eyes. So like I do feel like I wasted a good bit of that shadow, if we're being honest. The more I use that Nude Mood palette, to be quite honest, I'm really not like impressed with it. I wish that I would have went with the Going Coconuts palette instead. So, but you live and you learn. Okay, the next one, this one you already saw if you watched the how many eyeshadows have I hit pan on this year. So this is ColourPop's Tea Garden. This past month I used it 6 times to bring our total up to 13. And this already did have use on it like coming into this project, but I just really love this shade. My favorite way to wear it is the eye look that I was doing in my like eyeshadow palette collection video. I'm just highlighting those just so you could like go and see the colors in action. I'm gonna try to be a lot better this month about like taking pictures of like the looks that I do with these. But yeah, so I really enjoyed Tea Garden. I don't think you can go wrong with their singles. I haven't tried a ColourPop single that I've been like unimpressed with except for Tickled, but I'm gonna blame myself on that because I think Tickled is a topper shade and I just don't want it to be a topper shade. But okay, then the last like little depotted shade that I'll show you, this got rolled in last time. This is from the Blush Crush palette by ColourPop, and it's the shade Blossom Up. Now I only used it twice this past month, so you can see like the brush marks in it where there's like a little bit of a disruption, but nothing like too major as far as progress goes. It's such a pretty shade for like this time of year. It's like a purple pink and it has like this gold reflect to it. I really do think it's pretty. I need to start reaching for it more. The only problem that I have is that when I do reach for it, I tend to pair it with like a pink or purple crease, and then it gets a little too monochromatic for my taste. So I think I'm gonna pair it with like maybe some browns and silvers, maybe even like a green. I don't know, we'll be adventurous. But so the last shade that we were working on comes from the Tarte Sugar Rush BU palette. It was the shade Be Brilliant. I used it 3 times this past month for a total of 7. It is this shade right here, and you can see where I've been like focusing my brush. The little honeycomb pattern is like very disturbed. I don't know, just looking at this palette, I'm not sure if this translates on camera, but like just looking at it, these pans look like they're gonna be very thin. So I wouldn't be surprised if here in the next month I actually have pan on this shade. It's really pretty, but it's very dark for this time of year. So I don't think I've used it as like a standard lid shade, but what I have been doing is using it to deepen up like the outer V, especially if I'm wearing like especially if I'm wearing like a very light lid, like the shade Cashmere from my Lorac Mega Pro 1 palette is like the perfect pairing with this. I did though the other day, I was playing around with Subculture and I swatched Electric on top of this shade, and it was like this really interesting taupey green color. So I think I'm gonna explore pairing those two more. But yeah, so that is all of the shades that we have been working on. So we're gonna roll in 2 new palettes and then I will pick from there. So I need to first get my act together. I don't have anything pulled up. All right, it's 1 through 37. And so one reason why it's changed, I really haven't added that many like palettes into my life. But I used to have like an Ofra Z palette. And so that had like my Makeup Forever shades. It had Subculture, what's left of Subculture for me. I broke those palettes back down because I wanted to be more accountable for what I do have. So like now that Makeup Forever, like Build Your Own, the 4 shades that I have, that's its own thing. Subculture is its own thing. So there's that. And then also the very last thing on the list is my ColourPop Super Shock eyeshadows. So those could be rolled in, but we're gonna pick 2 new numbers. So 5 and 36. Let's see what that is. Okay, so palette number 5, it's gonna blind you a little bit, actually comes from the Profusion Chocolates palette, and this was one of the first palettes we were working on. So we do have pan on the shade Blitz, but this is what this palette is looking like. It's really pretty, and I rave about this palette all the time, and it's a shame that I don't use it more. So I'm really happy that it got pulled in again. And then the other palette, this was gifted to me from my friend Kaylee. It's the Morphe 35OM Nature Glow palette, and this is what this one is looking like. I already have pan on 2 of the shades, this cream shade over here that no one is surprised about, and then this shade, second one in, that is what I am currently using in my eyebrows right here. So this palette does get a good bit of use. I haven't picked out the colors yet that I want to work on, so let me do that. Okay, so from this bad boy now, this is an all matte palette, in case I didn't say that. Cat hair. So, and you can see it's very neutral, which fits me, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit easy on myself just because these pans are a little bit deeper than I expected. So I'm actually going to pick second row, third one in, this shade right here. Again, these don't have names, so I'm just gonna have to write it down. I think in like my spreadsheet, I have it as like, you know, A, so this would be like A1, A2, A3, so this would be like B3 is what we're working on. But here it is swatched out under the Tarte Be Brilliant shade. It's just a great everyday, kind of more neutral in my opinion, matte transition shade. Like I don't think that's too warm leaning or too cool toned leaning, so I'm kind of playing it safe with this shade, but I just think it'll really help make a more cohesive like little quintet. And then from the Profusion Chocolates palette, the shimmer shades that are some of my favorite are like Lionheart and Conquest in here, but those are both like leaning on the more pink side, and since we have that Blossom Up shade, I didn't want to go that route. So I actually picked the shade Glory right here, and I do already have that swatched out. It's just like on camera, I feel like it's picking up a little bit more like a bronzy gold, but in real life there seems to be like kind of an orange quality to it, so it gives me like sunset vibes. So I think that will be really pretty. Obviously these two would just make a really simple look together, but this Glory shade, I really feel like it's gonna help me get more use out of this, and I know that'll be a more warm tone look, but I think it'll look better, because like one of the reasons I was struggling with the ICYMI shade is because anytime that I would use it with like a shade that I would put like a red shade with, it would come off like not the red that I wanted. So I think that this shade will play nicely with it. I'm also tempted, maybe not this time, let me know how you guys feel. I'm tempted to start having 6 shades, but with the 6th shade, what we would do is randomize the palette and also randomize the shade. so like backwards from what everyone else is doing, where they like randomize 5 shades and then pick one for themselves. I just think that would be kind of fun just to see like luck of the draw what we're getting. But yeah, so that is it. That's everything. I know I'm not even gonna apologize. All my videos are rambling, but I hope you guys are having a good day or a night or whatever, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.